What's going on? I'm Mrmasonluke, and today I'm doing a top surgery update video. So this video is just a little bit late. I had my top surgery a year and a couple weeks ago, but didn't get around to making the video yet, so this is it. I'm going to take off my shirt so that you guys can see the results. Probably would have helped if I did that right. So, had my surgery with Dr.Cicuto in Lititz, Pennsylvania. I am from Pennsylvania, so for me, it made complete sense to go to his office because he was really close by. I also got it covered by my insurance, so that was even better. In total, I paid $40 out of pocket for my consultation and nothing else for the surgery. So this is what it looks like just over a year. Some of the areas on the side here have, healed up like really nicely. Like this area here actually is very smooth, even though it doesn't look like it in the camera. And that is because I just don't have great healing abilities. I will scar and stuff even like with a scratch anymore. So I'm actually really happy with my result, even though my lines still look pretty red. Some of them are really smooth. So if I show you all the way back this way, this surgery scar from about here to here is very smooth. Now the only thing I could say that might have been a little bit better, and there was nothing that he could really do about it, was because of how big chested I was and how big I was at the time, I had a lot of like side boobs. So for him, instead of just cutting into here and leaving like this giant mass over here, this was the only way that he can kind of cut that out and get rid of this whole side. So if I go like this, I don't have this massive side boob anymore, which is great. But it left just a tiny bit of a point here. And he said the only way to get rid of that would be to just keep going all the way around, and that would have made healing a lot worse. So I have like just a tiny bit of a indent out. What do you call that? I don't know what you call it. A tiny bit of a point here, but unless if I'm like this position, you really can't see it. Like it's not noticeable if like my hands are toward my sides, which they usually are. And even like to lift my arms overhead, it's not that noticeable either unless I'm like at a very specific angle. But they do feel really smooth. My, stretch marks have become a lot more faded than they used to be, which is great. They still will always probably be evident just because I had them to begin with. And then this side, I had a lot of healing issues in this area right here originally, and this is where, when he was cutting all the way back like he did on this side, this one didn't heal as good. Like he didn't almost go back like toward this kind of like roll right here. It kind of upticked, which kind of made it a little bit harder for it to heal. So instead of having a line coming back a little bit more, it went up a little bit. This one still has just a little bit of like harder scarring material as opposed to soft. And then the part right here where my chest meets, there's actually a spot here that there is no scarring at all because it wasn't cut through. And then this part here, there is kind of a bump through this part and then a tiny bit of an indent in this part here. I couldn't understand at first why it took so long for this part to heal. And then I found out because I was sleeping on my sides, every time I'd sleep on my sides, it would cause this part right here to pucker. So it wasn't healing properly from like here to here. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, that explains it. So I have some scarring that sticks out like right about here and here, and then some puckering here. It's a lot less noticeable than it used to be by far. You probably can't even see it on camera. But like there's like a little tiny pocket of skin. And here. So, and my hair covers it up decently anymore. Yeah, you can still see the lines, but it is what it is. Hopefully over time they will continue to fade, but at this point I stopped all my scar treatment because I just stopped caring. For those of you guys that are wondering, I did choose not to have nipples. When I got my top surgery, I didn't want to have to go through the healing process with it at all because of my scarring and how I don't heal really well to begin with. If I really wanted nipples, GenderCat does make stick-on nipples. They are a silicone prosthetic that adheres through adhesive. They stick actually really well, so, and they look very aesthetically pleasing. They're nice and thin when I do put them on. This one doesn't have the adhesive on, I'm just sticking it on so you can see it. But in general, they look awesome. I don't need them though, so they're available though. So that is my healing abilities. This is what I am a year post-op. If you have additional questions, you can put them in the comments. For those of you guys that are going to ask, which inevitably always happens, what insurance do I have? I'm going to just put it this way. Insurance doesn't really matter. It's less about your insurance and more about your insurance plan. So if you have questions about your insurance and whether it covers it or not, the best thing to do is get the procedure code for the top surgery from a surgeon's office as well as your diagnosis code. Call your insurance and say, do you cover this procedure code with this diagnosis code? That is the easiest way to find out if your insurance is going to cover. Every plan is different. Doesn't matter whether you have the same insurance, you have to go by your plan. Your employer may or may not cover this specific surgery in your plan. So check into it. Do your own research. Don't go by what everybody else says. And then if you're interested in going to a specific surgeon, you can always ask their office if they do take insurance to try to get an authorization for you. I know for Dr.Cicuto's office, I was able to give my insurance information to their staff. They were able to call and get an approval as well. So, and they've done that for more than just me. They've done it for other people who've been denied for top surgery in the past, where they just called, got the authorization. So, kudos to them for Cicuto. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you got questions. Put them in the comments.